Hello, thank you for joining us. This is Movie Grade. I'm your host, J.R.Alva. I'm joined here today with
Jay.Anderson.
And Victor Edmonds.
Thank you guys for being here. So this weekend we had the opportunity to catch M3GAN 2.0. If you didn't get a chance to see the first one, you're definitely in for a treat. This is going from a horror genre into something completely else. I personally think my first impression of the movie is, I think, good call on changing the genre. It's something different, but I think it was something that was a good change. Honestly, what was your first impression?
My first impression of the movie was, I don't know how to explain this to me. I felt like I did not predict what I was going to watch at all. I went in there expecting to watch M3GAN 2, and I'm not even sure if I saw M3GAN 2, honestly.
Honestly, I felt like a neat reinvention where there's some horror elements, but you throw in action in an over-top way, and it's fun, it's crazy, as heart.
I have to agree with you guys on that. When you look at this story, going right into it, I thought it was. I'm trying not to put any spoilers here, but honestly, it did switch over. There's maybe a little bit of the horror genre kind of just slightly peppered in. It's not as much into it. It definitely turned into more of a sci-fi action thriller than anything else. Which I think one of the things we were talking about is Terminator did that. The first movie was a complete horror movie, and then the second part turned into more of an action film, which I think was the best direction for this movie. And so, story-wise, I think it was just fun. It was a lot of fun. How did you feel about the story?
Victor, you want to take this over?
Well, I enjoyed the story. I think definitely it has its high points and low points. It's not completely perfect, but it's still very enjoyable where the action doesn't overwhelm the story where it takes it away from it. And sometimes I do feel some characters do get left out, like the side characters from the previous film. I feel like did kind of get pushed to the side a bit. Some comedy doesn't land, but doesn't matter too much. It's not like some other films where the comedy just keeps going and going, and it just kind of till you laugh or till it lands. And I think it's an excellent way to do like comedy and action, because I feel bad that comedy genre kind of seems to get thrown in everything, and comedies don't really succeed anymore on their own. You can't just do straight up comedy.
No, with me, I thought like the first part of the story itself kind of took me out of everything. Like I said, I walked into the theater watching the first 10 minutes of the movie going, am I watching M3GAN? What the hell am I watching? And then afterwards, when the M3GAN characters finally came in, all the characters from the first movie, it felt like a M3GAN story, but at the end, I don't know. Me personally, I felt like they were writing two different stories that just so happened to involve M3GAN, and it worked, but it shouldn't have worked. Me personally, that's how I feel.
I can see how you feel about that, especially considering you have if you saw the trailer, you find out that there's another android, AI robot going around, which was, I don't know how I could probably say that it was like a great acting thing, because we got Elizabeth Olsen up in here, and acting wise on it.
Ivanka Shagnik, SAHKNO. That's how her name's spelled. I'm not going to try to pronounce that.
Yeah, but she kind of had that Elizabeth Olsen look, didn't she? Like, I don't know. When I thought it was Elizabeth Olsen when I saw it, I was like, is it?
That's all right with me.
But yeah, I mean, I was just really surprised when I saw it. But she was just a stoic character. But I have to go back to M3GAN, the main character of the story. It was really interesting seeing character growth for an AI. I think that was something that was pretty interesting when it comes to the characters of the story. Did you have a favorite character?
No, I did not. I'm sorry, as harsh as that is. I don't think I had a favorite character.
Katie. Katie's my favorite character because honestly, she grew. She has a new skill set where she's a fan of Steven Seagal. and it's different, but it's a natural evolution for her character, and she was really fun. I think she, like, from her going from like a scared, fearful child who is still mourning her parents. She's kind of grown in a quick way.
Yeah, she almost took charge of her own life, if you will.
Yeah, without like a Gemma, it's not bad, but not bad as parental figure, but not great. She's trying.
Yeah,
I can see what you mean about that. I guess when you just progression of the story, that from evolving from the first movie into this one, I can see how the characters did grow. Which is, I guess, a good way a good written story does that. You have character growth. I was just surprised that the AI had character growth more than anything else. Speaking of which, I have to go into like memorable moments here, and I know it's silly, I know it's stupid, but I saw it you can see it in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything for anybody. But I honestly did just like the attitude M3GAN still has, and you get to see her in that little plastic thing, and she got put into this little body thing and everything, and I thought it was silly. It made me laugh, but I just loved her attitude more than anything. So I guess memorable moment for me, in that little plastic robot thing, giving attitude. How did you guys? What was your memorable moment?
Well, my memorable moment for me is when like two characters who don't necessarily trust each other. They finally go, okay, I'll put some trust in you if you trust me. So it was a neat moment where before it got a little bit over the top and weird, but it was a fun moment to see them bond, and it was kind of heartfelt even when we went bonkers.
I don't know. I mean, without giving too much away, I guess one of my memorable moments is when M3GAN's out on her first mission, and without saying too much, let's just say like a public performance went terribly wrong.
Yeah, that was very cool and fun in a weird way.
Yeah, I was like, maybe if you didn't do that.
Yeah, that did give it a whole new element of surprise. Which, speaking of which, I was obviously this has turned into a sci-fi film, so it just goes right into the special effects of it all.
So it's kind of been sci-fi. We have the robot and horror, just
yeah. Well, it just feels more sci-fi dominated this time, and along with the action. I think the first one they were really, really pushing that horror aspect, and this one I think they were just trying to go for something else. I think you mentioned something about the director writing it a certain way the first time, or he wrote it.
Well, he kind of threw everything he had for the first film, so he really didn't. And when it became successful, I guess he didn't anticipate it. But now he's said he sees how there could be more of these films and how you do more. But I think there was a seed. I feel like there's a seed of the sci-fi there where it's a very small seed for the AI things, and then you kind of just expand upon what you built in the first movie.
Yeah, so that was one of those things I remember we were talking about. One of the talking points was just, how, like you said, the director already had everything out in the first movie. He didn't think there was going to be a sequel. So the fact that they made this sequel he made the sequel out of the blue, like you said, it was a story that probably shouldn't have worked, but somehow they pulled it off.
Kind of where you go next, after a while, it's like, okay, you have AI, you have it starting out, someone else is bound to, this isn't spoiler or anything. It's like you have someone else using AI in their own way,
right?
So it's just a natural evolution. You create something, like anything, like light bulbs. Someone else is going to make another light bulb and do it their own way.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, the light bulb was such a great idea that it is now forever the symbol of a great idea.
True.
That out, Jay.
True. I see that light bulb in your head already.
I guess just moving forward into it then, we don't really have to say too much about the special effects. I think they pretty much nailed it. M3GAN looked pretty much like she did the first movie but it's the new one that kind of that the face looked a little bit different in comparison to M3GAN. So that was one of the other things. Like, I guess they were really trying to aim for an upgrade on like the way the person looked. Did you see anything that kind of stood out for you with the special effects other than that?
Well, it's because the physical actor, Amy Donald, she grew up a little bit, so she grew. So they had to like, I guess what you call upgrade. M3GAN herself.
Yeah.
That's why, because Jenna Davis is the voice of it, and often the way when they filmed it, from what I learned, basically Amy would do certain things, but when they needed, they would have like an actual like robot doll there.
Yeah.
To do certain other things, just to be, but they would put like a mask on her to kind of match the sort of the Uncanny Valley M3GAN face.
Yeah.
Where it's almost real enough, but it's not real enough.
I couldn't tell if this was special effects or just somebody that was just really good. But there's like some contortionist
That's
type
Amy Donald
things doing like
yeah, that's
that.
Amy Donald.
I'm like, I don't think that's special effects. That looked genuinely good and real. Like, wow, like that person has to be double jointed or something.
Yeah, that's what it's a credit to her, like in her performance part where she like, I guess she didn't have to do too much for the first film except for like, I guess, the hallway scene.
Yeah.
Where she did the weird dance and then the machete,
And the flips and all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I mean, personally, this movie stood out for this year. I already have my grade in mind. What did you guys have? What did you guys have for your grade?
I mean, me personally, and I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna give it a B. Just like I had more time to think about it. Originally, I wanted to give it a B plus. I'm giving this just a solid B. It's a B level movie for me. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Things I want to highlight that I didn't get to bring up was like the acting. The second robot that's there, even though her face doesn't look like a robot at certain times, she got the acting down right, and they both felt pretty robotic. So because of that, because of the genre and everything, I want to give it a higher grade, but I can't in all consciousness give it anything higher than a B.
I give it A minus because I feel like a lot of the good supporting cast like Tess and Cole sometimes get pushed to the side, even though they do play a role in things. And like I said, comedy doesn't always land, but it's still pretty fun and over the top where I can overlook that. Where I really enjoy the first one, and I'm like, yeah, this is really good fun.
I'm gonna go ahead and go also with that A minus. I was thinking about it for a while, and actually, as soon as we came out of the movie, I already had that grade in mind, and so and I was thinking about it and everything. And to be honest with you, as I thought about it more and more, to me, it cemented that A minus a little bit more because it gave me a plethora of things to chew on. You gave me drama, you gave me comedy, you gave me action. The sci-fi, was right, not so over the top that it took away from it. I think it was just right, the right amount. And I am an action buff, to be honest with you, and that action really, really sold to me. So if you like action movies, you're gonna get that taste of action you need. So at least for me, it was also an A minus.
See, I agree. Like the sci-fi, honestly, they did the sci-fi well enough where you're not overthinking this world. You're not thinking. You're thinking just enough that like, okay, AI exists. There's people using it, abusing it. Creating whatever they want.
Right.
And it's good enough where like you don't overwhelm people with like too much jargon or like you could easily made like something a little more. You can make it too difficult to get and be too fun.
Right.
And plus, the human drama of it just really works well. I think where that's like undershadow. Human drama just works where you don't need to worry so much about the other things. You get your fun, you get human drama.
Yeah,
that perfect sandwich of that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, we got a B and we got 2 A minuses. I think a fair grade. Maybe we should give it a B plus
or A minus. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the average.
Should we average it out to A minus?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, all right, guys. There you guys have it. So, M3GAN 2.0, we went ahead and gave that an A minus all around grade. I think we're pretty satisfied with what we had, and you got your different points of view. So, thank you guys very much again for joining us. Once again, I'm J.R.Alva, your host for Movie Grade, and I'm joined here today with.
I'm Jay Anderson, GM at PWO, Pro Wrestling Legacy. You can check me out over there. And, of course, helping Victor as co-founder of United Oddity.
Victor Edmonds, co-founder of United Oddity, head writer.
Awesome. And thank you guys again for joining me. And stay tuned also, because they're going to have a show coming up real soon. So we're going to go ahead and put that link on the bottom as soon as we get that opportunity. So stay tuned with us. Once again, thank you very much. This is Movie Grade.